information, so thank you for staying here. And you probably heard a lot about this, digital transformation. It's been a theme throughout these 2 days, right? And it's pretty important for companies today to understand what's going on, what it is all about. So that's the reason it's been one of the themes here. And I actually did a Wikipedia search for it, and this is kind of the information you get from Wikipedia. It's basically the change that is associated with the usage of digital technology. That is exactly what they say if you Google up it. But to me, this is way more than just related to digital technology. It's affecting you, the entire company structure, affecting to how you do business, how you communicate with your clients. It's affecting your marketing. So basically everything inside your company is affected of the digital transformation. So it means a lot more than just technology, right? And mobile is really driving this today. And mobile is a kind of a cornerstone in the digital transformation story. So it becomes more and more important of the entire story here, right? And the prediction is like in just a couple of years, almost 90% of all the internet traffic communication will happen in devices. Almost 90%. And if you dive into this number and try to understand how is this communication happening on these devices, it's really obvious that it's happening inside apps, right? So almost last year it was like 86% of all communication on these devices you actually executed in an app. It's not by the browser, for example. I don't have the numbers for this year, but it's all pointing to it actually will increase. So that kind of explains the importance of to have an app strategy and to understand why to do this. So many companies right now, they're asking themselves this type of questions. Do I have the right team? Do I have the right strategy? Do I actually have a plan in place to do this? Many corporations already is there, but it's more than you can expect that don't really have this in place. And also, is my marketing ready to handle this mobile area and digital transformation? So the reason it's important to have a plan is because if you have the technology, let's say you have access to all the technology like analytics, AM, DPS and so on, it doesn't help you really if you don't have a plan, and the vice versa. It's the same importance to have a plan. If you have a plan but no technology, you can't really get there, right? So it's a combination to have a strategy, to have a plan together with the technology that make you successful, right? So digital transformation today make things move really, really fast. If you have a successful business or you have a successful services you deliver to clients or customers or users, you can be pretty sure that somebody wants a piece of that, right? So, for example, Nokia, the mobile manufacturing, the company, they were at their peak 2006, right? I think 2/3 of every mobile devices ever sold was a Nokia phone. And the year after, another company, 2007, decided to move into this business. And they completely changed everything almost overnight. And now, Nokia doesn't really exist in the mobile phone business anymore. So things can happen really, really fast. Another example is of digital disruption. This is what I call the digital disruption here, right? Another example is company Uber. You're familiar with that, right? So what they did was to move into an industry that looked the same for almost 100 years. They just took a step into the taxi industry, right? It looked the same for 100 years. You take me from point A to point B and I pay you cash, right? They moved in here and they completely changed everything almost overnight, right? The company was founded 2009. It's like 6 years ago, right? And I looked at Business Insider's website. The value is now at least over $40 million in 6 years. That's absolutely amazing, right? So they moved into a very traditional industry and completely changed it. And they did it with an app, right? And mobile technology. So no coincidence, right? The logo actually looked like an app icon. So even if you are in an industry that dealing with software or mobile technology, you maybe are in a very traditional industry, this can happen to you, right? If you don't pay attention to the digital transformation story here. So I was watching a documentary on TV a few months ago, and they described this like being inside a perfect storm. And it's never been easier than today to go to market globally. And they had a story about a young kid in Benelux, right? He was like a 14-year-old kid that built their own website for merchandises globally from his boy room in his mother's apartment, right? There were another story about farmers in Bangladesh that had mobile phones to check the price of crops. So it's really, really available, and it's like everywhere, and things go very fast. So you can ask yourself, how can it be that it can go so fast? How is it possible that it can create a company just 5 years that is worth $40 billion, right? And I think this is kind of the answer, right? This is a very famous quote that is circling around on LinkedIn. You've probably seen it, right? But it explains this. It explains how it can go so fast. So to kind of summarize a little bit, right? Everyone can do kind of global business today, and everyone can reach your customers. So if you have a healthy business, a healthy service today you're selling, right? Every one of your clients, of your customers, including your sales team, have a smartphone. So everyone can reach them, right? So when you go there, you better do it right, because everyone can do it if you miss this. So this kind of technology shift require a little bit different mindset, right? So this Sunday, I had a little bit of an epiphany this Sunday. Where I was waiting for my flight to fly to here to London to attend here, and I was sitting in a cafe back home in Stockholm. I'm Swedish, by the way, and had a coffee, and I did my tax return, my tax refund, using the tax authorities app, right? And I submitted my tax refund. And then I ordered my taxi using the Uber app. And in the taxi, on my way to the airport, I checked in to my flight using the Scandinavian Airlines app. And I kind of realized, wait, everything we do today is a part of your life. Mobile is a part of your life, right? And as a user, even if I'm working with this, I'm also a user, right? You have certain expectation of what you should expect from an app, right? You have certain expectation. So my advice usually is don't to try it halfway, don't try to cut corners, because users today have a really high expectation of what they can expect. And that's not just your clients, that's also your sales teams. So just imagine, the people you will hire today to be your tomorrow's salespeople. They know how an app should behave, right? So when you do your sales material or your e-learning information, you have certain expectation of this, right? If you don't do it right, they will not use it, right? So keep that in mind. One person that really knows how to do this stuff is Thierry Deringas from PNB Paribas. So he have done this complete transformation of his company, and it's really been driving that internally. So pay attention, because you have some really good insights to share. So over to you, Terry.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So to start, it's about building our business and building the business in a digital world. Before starting, let me explain what is BNP Paribas, and especially wealth management, in which I'm working. So it's really in the first in the Eurozone, it's in the top tier in Asia, it's in the top 5 globally, so let's say we are big. Just to underline that BNP Paribas is a huge group. It's about 180,000 people working in 60 countries. So a big group in a bank for wealth management, and you can imagine that transforming the company for digital is a bit of challenge. So, of course, that position, this is something that we want to keep and we want to improve. This is based on several pillars describing a very classic strategy, commercially wise. And based on that, we need talent, we need a strong brand, but at the same time, we need also digital. So clearly, from now, wealth management sees the digital as a business opportunity. And there is a strong will inside the company to move on, including wealth management in that area. But then the adventure begins, because it's uneasy to say, let's go digital, and then we have to do it. And I'm quite sure that everybody having that kind of challenge knows that it's difficult. Even when you have, luckily, the support from your top management, never mind, it's a big change. And that change, you have to manage it in different ways. And that's what I want to share with you today. So, what about the customer? So, wealth management is really based on the relationship. It's a trusted relationship between the advisor and the clients. But for the clients, the world is changing, and changing a lot. So, as example, Facebook has just changed the world inside the social media, but at the same time, the client expectation is also moving. He expects to be connected with peers, to be able to have facilities to exchange, and that's Facebook. It's changing the habits from our clients. And it's the same with Apple. Apple is just a huge success, as we all know, but at the same time, Apple is changing the behavior and the expectations from our clients. And then we have also Google. Google, you have all the easiness to find information, and clients expect to find easily our information. And finally, Amazon. Amazon is a brilliant experience in the sale. And again, the customer is expecting to have good recommendation with a lot of facilities and an easy way to go for transaction. All these change the world for wealth management. So our target is really about our customer, to provide them good services, and at the end we want to be for them the Google, Facebook, Amazon story, Apple, to provide that facility directly to our clients. But this is about the clients. At the same time, we have the employees. So all the people in the front, the sales team, they have to support that. And they have to feel confident, they have to trust in those new capacities coming with the digital, to be really able to take the most from that to better serve the client. So digital is something really very global. If you want to transform your company, it starts with the very last back office, all the sales team, the front people, and of course the client. So it's a big transformation. So for us, the key challenges in that was of course about regulations. Believe me, in the bank and especially in wealth management, the rules are really strict. We have thousands of constraints coming from regulation. It's just a nightmare. But we have to deal with that. At the same time, economic environment is not so good, so there is a lot of tension on profitability. As I said, customer behavior is changing, and digital competition is coming very strong. Today, there are a lot of small players today, startups, doing business in a different way, in wealth management, in advice, and they will come bigger and bigger. So it's time for us to react and to prepare ourselves to that future. So the three really strategic imperatives that we had for wealth management was really coming, yes, delight the customer. So really providing an excellent experience in digital directly. Then we have to disrupt. There are lots of startups doing business other ways, as I said, and if we don't want to be prehistoric or too old for our customer, we must also disrupt in the market. And finally, to do that, we must be very flexible. So, this is about customer experience. And this is really the way we have chosen to work in BNP Paribas. It's about customer experience, taking the customer from the very start, so the first contact, he doesn't know that he will do one day business with us, engagement, onboarding, and finally interaction and retention, cross-selling, whatever. So this is really the whole story for the customer. And we selected content as being really something strategic because, as you can see, content is everywhere from the start to the end. At each step, we need excellent content to be able to interact correctly with our clients. So what we want? Of course, we want good content. It's about the production itself, the way we publish, the way we manage, the way we implement. So a lot of things is very important in the content production. But good content is good, but not good enough. We really want to have better content. And then it's something a bit more intuitive and changing the way we manage that. It's about sharing the content across the company. It's about having really that focus on the client. When the client is reading our document, what do he expect exactly? The way he will read the document must dictate the way we are writing it directly. So it's quite complex, and until a few, let's say, months ago, we were a huge content producer. We are producing in wealth management something as 150,000 pages yearly by 300 people, but everything for print. At that point of time, on our sites worldwide, we had 100 pages. So of course, it's not the purpose to put 100,000 pages on the site saying, okay, everything is there and we are happy. Not at all, but the gap is huge. So content was really the focus, and working differently was really something key in the production. So the objective that we set to start was to have something totally integrated for content management, a real ecosystem from the production to the final distribution. And we want to produce from the first day, so not after 6 months, 1 year of project, after the first day for digital and still for printing, because printing will stay. It's an illusion to say that we will be paperless tomorrow. It will not be the case, but that's the reason why it's important to be able to have that capacity to produce for both. We don't want to build a new factory while keeping the old one for printing. It's a nonsense. So that was the objective. And then my problem begins, because how to reach that quickly? And that was the real challenge on that. So this is the reason why we said, okay, we will build a new environment. And really, my personal objective, I don't know if you were in some session, but in one session, somebody shared a video where you have one guy dancing alone. And then that's me, I'm dancing alone. And finally, some people are coming and start to dance. That's the lab, what we will see in a few minutes. People are coming committed. And then suddenly, the number of people increase very quickly. Why? Because you have committed people. But you need a first one to dance. And yeah, I have no shame. I can dance alone for a very long time. But it works. And really what we put in place was something at business level. So there was no technical constraint to work totally on content production. So I just hired a server in Amazon, and I put AEM on it myself, with some help from Adobe. Thank you, Sophie. But just like that, no IT. Then I collected people, and I really developed in that an entrepreneur mindset. So really, that's your business, that's your group. You do it the way you want. Just do. Start, And I will provide all the environment, I will support you, but you are the entrepreneur, you have your objective, let's go. So it was also an MIT approach. So it's a research group, but a research during which we are not doing theory, we are doing for real. So working directly in IOM from the first day, and from the first day, writing content. As simple as that. And then, step by step, we test, we learn, sometimes we fail, no problem, we just redo. Yes, we have the right to fail. And I must really underline that point. It had a huge effect on the team spirit inside the groups. So people were really very committed to work together, were not afraid of failure, and really just explode their creativity to work on the content, just because of that. So this is the right to fail is really something very important. And this is managed as a startup. So you have the idea, you pitch, you work, and then you come back, you show, you convince, perfect. You get some more money, and you continue. And so on, and so on, and so on. So it's also a question of agility. So having that approach inside the business, not inside IT, inside the business, to have very short sprints, work on the topic, deliver something, adjust, see, it's good, it's bad, it's good, we go in production, it's bad, we throw away, and we restart, and we make progress, step by step, and improving at each step. That's really something very key. And I must say, I will show you, the results were just amazing. And at the same time, because people are learning, guess what? They become our future experts on that area. So at the same time, I'm really building with the people my future team to work on the content. So that was really the way we want to go. And that's what we did. So it was called The Lab. That's the logo from the lab. In that, we had 35 people from 6 locations. So location means from Luxembourg to Hong Kong. So people were split around the world. During 6 months, with the tools from Adobe, in the cloud, no limit, and 2 partners to support. Partners on design and partners with Adobe to really push us to the limit on the tools themselves at the same time. And the result achieved was really amazing. So there had been what we call 28 research topics. So meaning 28 type of content that we have produced. And it was not only taking existing content and redesigning, we also took quite a lot of totally new content. So really from scratch, having that process to create something. It was, of course, multi-language, as we have in the group 6 countries, and Waste Management sorry, is on 27 countries. Oh. And at the same time, we built knowledge and a very strong conviction, because we produce something. And that's something we just shown at each step to the EXCO, to many people, so really showing all the progress and the capacity that we were acquiring. And that was really something splendid. So at the end, we even decided to promote what we did to about 200 people inside the company by building very quickly a mobile application with IOM, again, IOM app, just to promote and show, and at the same time animate all that content on social media to get the comments from those 200 people. And we had a lot of comments, and I must say people were just enthusiastic. So at the end of that lab, I was not dancing alone anymore. I was with many people, and many people were even asking when will be the next date for the next dance. So that was really something just amazing in terms of results. But at the same time, we have to take lessons. So at the start, the question was, can we do that? The answer is yes. what you have to do is to start. So making the first kick and go into the subject, not being afraid to dance on your own, is really important. You need some crazy people just going ahead and saying, okay, I move forward, I take the people, and I lead. That's really key. At the same time, I said we were organized as several startups. The business angels are important. So in each group, there was 8 groups. I put somebody from my team as business angel to really support the group, help them to work differently, solving all the shits regarding IT, money, whatever. They don't have to care about that. They have to be creative, and that's it. So that role is really very important to animate such a group. It was a unique opportunity. Guess what? The people were really happy. They had fun. And they are asking to redo that on whatever the subject is, really to work again in that way. It was really a very good time for them, even if they have really, really hard work on that. There are some groups, they work even during the weekend, just because they were enthusiastic. They set up an appointment with some visio and conference call, and several of them worked during the weekend, just for the pleasure. I was not asking, but they did. Fantastic. At the end, all the participants are today my ambassadors. They are really promoting what we have done themselves. They are proud to show the result. They are proud to discuss, and they are proud to teach to others how they have done and to take them into the content production. Something that was also nice, and that's the agile method, we have been able to add topics at any time. So sometimes says, oh, we forgot something. No problem. We add it in one group, and the group was working in the next sprint. I will show you that even in a lab, so something very experimental, it's possible to do something very important in terms of subject. But I will come back on that. After the challenge, which is very important, is to keep the pace. So the lab was a huge moment. People committed. But once the lab is done, you cannot stop. People want to continue. And you cannot say, okay, this is fantastic, the result is just great. Let's do the IT project for 2 years, and then we will come back with to continue. We cannot stop. So it's important to have what we called a pre-industrialization. I don't really like that word, but let's say a pre-thing, to keep the people on board, start to increase the number of people, and prepare at the same time the final project. But we don't want to stop. So the lab is continuing. The format is different. It's more, let's say, professional and day-to-day oriented. But we don't wait for 1 year or more for the IT project to come. And an important lesson, of course, IT was totally not in the lab. Nevertheless, from the first day, and I should have done from the first day to involve IT and have that parallel track. I've waited a bit too long, to be very transparent. We started in June, and in October, I started to interact with my IT to tell them, okay, we will come with one solution that you have to put in our environment. No, 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 I'm not asking which solution. I'm saying that's the solution. I'm asking you just to put in that environment. You can imagine the discussions with the IT people was a bit difficult, and I should have started much earlier. So that's really a good advice I give to you. If you want to do that, don't include IT in the lab, but at the same time, in parallel, work with them. That's something that could be very important. Just as example, this is what we have done. It's an editorial charter. So during the work in the lab, we noticed that our content were becoming step by step quite divergent. So the tone of voice was different, the way it was structured was becoming too much divergent. So we decided to build the editorial charter inside the lab. So that was one topic of the lab. But the lab is a startup, an experiment, but the result, the editorial charter, that's the official, validated editorial charter for waste management. That's the final one that we have built inside a lab through experiment. And guess what? That charter is just really excellent. I did not write it, so it's not me. It's many people in the different teams, but it's really excellent. Why? Because it has been written during the experiment. So it has been written while the people were doing that for real. So it's full of experience, it's full of the knowledge that we have acquired during the 6 months. And the result is really the final one. So that's also important to show and to explain that even during lab, you can do final result, really things that you can push to your clients or internally in the company. So what about now? Well, now it's time to industrialize. As I said, we have to take everything in our official environment. So we have done the exploration with the lab, and we have to move to the day-to-day. So during the lab, we explore, but at the end of the lab, we started to focus. So with the editorial charter, it was a way to get all the people on the same page and getting them very coherent. So then we are now able to do what I call pre-industrial. So we continue to rationalize, so we build some process, we onboard more and more people, and the content we produce, of course, it's not automated to be pushed on the internet and mobile sites, but we already implement the way to integrate that handmade integration, taking that content directly on the site. And we start onboarding many people across the countries. So at the end, industrial is just the final expansion, the final automated integration, and then we are in the day-to-day. So guess what? For industrialization, of course, this is about the IT project, but that's it. It's just the IT taking our platform into our environment and making that at disposal. All the rest, selecting the tool, the way to use it, all the change management that we have to do to produce differently has been already done. And it's just an IT project and nothing more. And that's a big change inside a company such as BNP Paribas, and especially waste management. We are quite loving the traditions. And by doing that way, we will succeed really in things that we never thought that it could be possible for us. So that's really something that was a great moment for all of us. Change management, as I said, is a very important topic because it's a lot of change in the mindset, in the organization, in the process, and this must be, of course, managed from the start to the end. We started the change management in the lab, and we continue right now, and we will never stop until the day-to-day use. So it's about skills, it's about way of working, it's about the governance itself. And for that, as we are working with many countries, we are building change management toolkit. So we build all the material, make that at disposal from the country, and then we help the country to manage themselves, their own change management. We provide the tools, we provide the different materials, and we push and support the countries to succeed in that. Thank you. And